Into the Wilds. The tactical rebirth of the division. The first major engagement for the recalibrated team occurred in the rugged Newfoundland wilderness, where the tactical skills of Mark Hudson were necessitated by the reach of the Craner mob family. The case involved the protection of Wyatt Donner, a witness to a murder committed by Tyler Craner, the impulsive son of a powerful criminal patriarch. The geography of fear in Cape Royal. The pursuit took place along the Cape Royal Trail, an area characterized by black spruce, balsam fir, and white birch. The investigation was complicated by the presence of Serena Rickett, an elite assassin from Halifax, with a background in aggravated assault and suspected hits in Montreal and Toronto. Mark Hudson's military training was essential here. He utilized survivalist maneuvers to protect the witness, including the deployment of Rex as a silent biological radar. During the chase, Rex's ability to track scents through the dense forest was the only factor preventing an ambush. Mark's methodology differed from Charlie's. Where Charlie would have relied on empathy and intuition, Mark focused on the physics of the environment, wind direction, thermal signatures, and tactical positioning. The showdown on the bluff, where Mark was wounded, showcased the fierce loyalty of Rex, who tackled the assassin just as she was about to deliver a fatal shot. This event established a blood bond between Mark and Rex, though Sarah remained skeptical of Mark's more aggressive approach to canine handling. The forensic pivot of the Craner investigation. While the action unfolded in the woods, Sarah Truong and Superintendent Donovan worked to flip Elroy Denny, Tyler Craner's partner. The romantic suspense in this subplot involved Sarah's empathy for Elroy's 12-year-old daughter, Mia, whose potential loss of her father reminded Sarah of her own fractured future. The forensic analysis of Serena Rickett's digital devices, specifically the lack of security on her phone despite her professional status as an assassin, allowed Jesse to trace her directly back to Jason Craner, the runaway witness. Forensics and human vulnerability. The kidnapping of Megan Schaefer, a lawyer at the Wilkins law firm, provided a case that required Rex's softer, more empathetic skills. Megan was snatched from the street, and the only witness was Brian Jansen, a 12-year-old boy with autism who spoke only in drawings. Rex, and the psychology of the silent witness. Rex's interaction with Brian Jansen serves as a hallmark of the canine's versatility. Autistic children often react positively to animals, and Rex's ability to remain calm and provide sensory grounding allowed Brian to communicate through art. Mark recognized that Brian's drawings were not merely sketches but hyper-realistic photographic memories. Through these drawings, the team identified the kidnapper's van and later the kidnapper himself, Earl Blackburn, a career criminal who operated a high-end chop shop. The narrative took a dark turn when the primary suspect, Jamie Bregdon, Megan's ex-boyfriend, was found dead in the van. Sarah Truong's forensic autopsy of Bregdon revealed chromium shards in the wound, indicating he had been killed in a professional automotive environment. The financial corruption of the Wilkins firm. The technical analysis conducted by Jesse Mills uncovered a money laundering scheme within Megan's law firm. The perpetrator was revealed to be Todd, a partner at the firm who had embezzled from escrow accounts. Todd used the StarQuest online gaming platform to recruit a teenager to retrieve the ransom, attempting to remain anonymous. The climax occurred at an abandoned machine shop in the Golds, where Mark and Rex rescued Megan moments before she was to be executed by Blackburn. This case demonstrated Sarah's growing field competence as she took over the management of Brian Jansen's safety, bridging her forensic work with active detective duties. The best kind. High-tech finance and maritime murder. The maritime investigation into the death of Jacob Kaufman on his yacht, Best Kind, brought the team into the world of elite Toronto investors and the secretive realm of cryptocurrency. Kaufman was murdered with a spear gun, an unusual weapon that left specific forensic signatures, forensic markers, and environmental clues. Sarah Truong identified that the spear was coated in seawater and ocean bacteria, suggesting the killer had come from outside the yacht or had retrieved the weapon from the harbor. Rex's observation of ripples in the water 15 minutes before the body was discovered indicated a maritime approach by the killer. Jesse Mills identified a tour boat owned by Bill Penny as the staging ground for the attack. Investigation. Feature narrative significance. Forensic. Technical detail. The murder weapon, staged as an outsider attack. spear-coated in seawater and ocean bacteria. The can of air watch. The true motive for the murder. 6-4-digit hexadecimal crypto key engraved inside. The Starquest credits, used for anonymous hiring. VPN trace led to Cyprus, but local recruits used. Pseudosends, used to track the ransom, undetectable by humans. Tracked by Rex to the teen courier. The cryptographic motive. The motive for Kaufman's murder was the retrieval of his watch, which contained the hexadecimal key to hundreds of millions in cryptocurrency. The perpetrator was his business partner, Veronica Goodwin, a tech expert who viewed Kaufman as a Luddite obstacle. She attempted to frame the deckhand, Blaine Selby, and the software developer, James Endicott, by manipulating Andrea Kaufman's phone to send incriminating texts. Rex's role was pivotal in locating the watch, which had been hidden in a mahogany case with a deerskin liner. The unique scent of the case, which Rex had been trained to recognize using synthetic pseudoscents, allowed Mark to intercept Veronica before she could flee Street Johns. The resolution of this case highlighted the slow-burn attraction between Mark and Sarah, as they shared a moment of reprieve on the deck of the Best Kind after the arrest. Of all the gin joints, botanical forensics, and family betrayal, the murder of Willem Devereux, owner of the Devereux Distillery, combined family drama with the complex science of botanical distillation. Devereux was found drowned in a vat of gin, but Sarah Truong's autopsy revealed the primary cause of death was blunt force trauma to the occipital region. The secret of Labrador Tea. The investigation centered on the secret ingredient of the distillery's new blend, which Rex identified through a canine taste test as Labrador tea, Rhododendron groenlandicum. This botanical is common in Newfoundland but toxic in high concentrations. The discovery of the tea led the team to Melanie Devereux, Willem's daughter, who had been using the botanical in her own skincare line, Island Aesthetics. The technical complexity of this case involved the use of tetrazoline, an eye drop ingredient used to poison a spirits critic, Simone Sawyer, who was on the verge of giving the new gin a glowing review. Melanie had attempted to frame her brother, Jaden, who was secretly negotiating a sale of the distillery to a Japanese conglomerate. The irony of the will. The narrative reached a tragic peak when it was revealed through Willem's lawyer that he was planning to announce Melanie as his sole heir. Melanie's act of violence, driven by the belief that her father was humiliating her, essentially destroyed her own future. Rex's ability to track the scent of the spray paint Melanie used to disable hotel surveillance cameras was the final piece of evidence. This case emphasized the Devereux spirit, a local pride that Willem possessed, and that Melanie, in her desperation, had misinterpreted as hostility. The psychological tapestry. Sarah and Mark's evolving dynamic. Throughout these investigations, the relationship between Sarah Truong and Mark Hudson remains the central romantic suspense thread. Unlike the relationship with Charlie, which was characterized by a slow-burn mutual discovery over 7 seasons, the dynamic with Mark is born of shared trauma and professional necessity. Sarah often looks sad or sleepwalking through her duties, reflecting the deep impact of Charlie's loss. Mark Hudson, as a hero of another story, often mentions his own estranged girlfriend, Laura, creating a parallel of romantic unfulfillment. However, the shared responsibility for Rex acts as a bridge. Sarah, who was intended to be Rex's partner if anything happened to Charlie. The forensic science of Street Johns. A technical analysis. The forensics in Season 8 are characterized by high information density and specialized procedures. Sarah Truong remains the entire forensics department, performing tasks ranging from DNA sequencing to ballistics, chemical and biological profiling. Several key forensic procedures utilized during the season are outlined below. Synthetic scent tracking. The canine unit uses pseudo-cocaine or explosive powder, which are detectable only by dogs, to mark ransom money and suspect vehicles. Chromium shard analysis. The identification of microscopic industrial waste in stab wounds allowed the team to pinpoint the location of Jamie Bregden's murder to a specific chop shop environment. Tetrazoline toxicity. The use of eye drop chemicals as a tasteless, lethal poison in spirits required sophisticated toxicology screenings that Sarah performed to clear Jaden Devereux. Botanical identification. The isolation of essential oils